The PS4 and Xbox One seem to be rushed products in 2013. Some feel they offer just a little bit more than the last generation consoles, especially with Xbox. The two consoles have proven that console gaming is not going away anytime soon. Why are Sony and Microsoft ready for PS5 and Xbox 2, and what hardware are they going to use to power these true next generation consoles?
What? Next generation consoles already? What's going on, guys? It's Dealer Gaming back again with yet another collaboration with Colt Eastwood. Colt, what's going on here? What's this video about, bud?
It's actually time to start thinking about the PS5 and the next Xbox. Well, Xbox 2 is what we're going to call it.
You know, and it's important to note, guys, we do have capable gaming PCs. We also have Xbox One X's 4K displays. And, you know, myself, I own a PS4 Pro. We got a lot of perspective here. We want to inform you guys about the future of console gaming with some of these upcoming true next-generation consoles.
Right now, the most powerful consoles lie with the PS4 Pro from 2016 and the Xbox One X in 2017. When Sony and Microsoft were talking about the development of these mid-generation refresh consoles, that puts the PS4 in 2016 halfway to the PS5 in 2019. Microsoft claims that it takes 3 years to develop, implement to developers, and launch a brand new console. That would technically put the next Xbox in 2020.
Many of the most relevant complaints about PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X are that of frame rate. Thanks to a CPU bottleneck, these upgraded 8th generation consoles are still unable to obtain 60 frames per second in many AAA games today, though it is worth noting that most big AAA multiplayer games do run at 60 frames per second. Gears of War, Call of Duty, Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo Sport, Uncharted 4, and more do obtain this frame rate, but several big games like Destiny 2 and of course PUBG do not. Now, some of you out there may be wondering, why do we need another generation of consoles? What is the big deal and what will we gain? Well, first and foremost, that frame rate issue should be significantly mitigated by those new Ryzen Core APUs that will surely power the true next generation PS5 and Xbox 2. Not only will these new super-powered next-generation consoles help gamers obtain higher frame rates, but they will also improve physics dramatically, as well as character animation and AI. Now, of course, current-generation consoles like the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro make games look absolutely stunning, but frame rates continue to be a problem on the platforms, particularly at 60 frames per second. With next-generation consoles using Ryzen tech, this should be a problem of the past. Now, keeping in mind that AMD have already started the production and sale of Ryzen-powered APUs, as well as their new updated AMD roadmap into the future showing them producing even more powerful desktop and mobile class APUs for the consumer, I think it is a very high likelihood we will see these Ryzen-powered APUs in the PS5 and Xbox 2. Now, as the hardcore gamer, what does this mean for you? Well, with that kind of CPU overhead, developers can now take advantage of several new techniques, innovate on the CPU side in their engines, and deliver much better physics, character animation, AI, and most importantly, higher frame rate options for the gamer.
With the current generation seemingly hitting its stride, why would these companies truncate the success and the momentum of the Generation 8 consoles with a replacement upgrade? Xbox has the luxury of a custom in-house software emulator, which allows backward compatibility all the way back to the original Xbox. With over 450 games, and PS4 takes advantage of PS Now, a paid streaming service. Both libraries are similar in size, scope, and quality, but the Xbox One X sees a boost of up to 16 times resolution and a stable or sometimes unlocked frame rate. In short, a better overall experience with games you already own. PS Now is subjected to a limited 720p frame buffer with just enough latency to turn some off of the paid service. Full PS4 backward compatibility could help alleviate the sting of an upgraded console in 2020, especially for those that just upgraded to the Pro in 2016. 4 years seems like a short life cycle when the PS3 endured 8. The traditional console life cycle is 4 to 6 years.
Now that's great, Colt, but the question is, can Sony and Microsoft promise to keep full backwards compatibility and offer it to those that have chosen to upgrade to the PS5 and Xbox 2? Now, in the current state of things, we've seen enhanced titles prove that two versions can exist for hardware that is half as powerful as the other. That is why you have a game on Xbox One X that also runs on the Xbox One S.
But changing console generations doesn't mean that PlayStation gamers have to leave their recent games behind.
I think it's safe to assume that both PS5 and Xbox 2 will be fully backwards compatible. Unlike compatibility with 7th generation games on the Xbox One, I think the new generation of consoles will maintain compatibility primarily through their shared x86 architecture. Ideally, compatibility should just work thanks to this shared architecture, and I think at the very worst case scenario, you'll have to rely on some sort of emulation as they do now with the Xbox 360 on the Xbox One today.
With big, high-rated titles on Xbox One and PS4, with more flagship titles coming before PS5 and Xbox 2, like Days Gone, The Last of Us 2, Halo 6, and possibly Death Stranding. And according to ESA, digital purchases have risen 74% as more of us make our collection of games in hard drives instead of bookshelves.
Either way, we're calling it now. Look forward to all of your purchases coming with you to the next generation.
The price point for new consoles has always been subject to criticism, like the $600 PS3, the $500 Xbox One and X. But the winning price point for consoles over the years has been $400, and the PS4 Pro launched for $400 in 2016. The Xbox One X launched at $500, but according to Digital Foundry, it offers up to double the visual quality of the PS4 Pro for only a quarter more of the cost. It's imperative that the PS5 and Xbox 2 launch simultaneously in 2020 for $400. In 2 to 3 years, both consoles can further push 4K gaming visuals with more 60 FPS titles, and at that price point, a few years after the Pro and the X is very possible.
Yeah, Colt, I actually agree. Gaming is going to be absolutely stellar on these new machines. And, in today's world with the X1 X and the PS4 Pro, we do have options on mini games for 60 frames per second gameplay. With these new, faster CPU consoles, you're going to have that option much more commonly, and maybe even more importantly, seeing as there is a substantial CPU leap, developers are going to be able to raise the bar across the board. They're going to be able to raise that animation quality, that AI quality, the destruction, things like that across the board in all games, and that's really going to change the game as well.
For those that chose to upgrade to the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, there are a solid 3 years until a possible release of the PS5 and the Xbox 2. But right now, games are looking better than ever, running from 1080p all the way up to native 4K, and visual benefits only seen in the PC space. We can only imagine the improvements waiting for console gamers in the next generation with stronger and faster hardware. Remember, great games are always there, and they're always on the way, but if we can play those games with better visuals, more on-screen and more vibrant living worlds, then we should be excited for the next generation. The only problem we have to worry about is how much our current console will be worth in 3 years.
That's actually a really good question, Colt. What do you think about those saying, well, you just bought an Xbox One S, then you bought an Xbox One X? What's the deal here? Do you think people are wasting money? Do you think those that just bought an X should feel slighted by the fact that there's a new Xbox 3 years after the fact?
Well, I'm expecting a lot more from next generation for one thing, and my purchase of the X was actually a really easy purchase for me. I knew I wanted this. I've been really satisfied with it. If the next generation Xbox is as good as the upgrade the X was, I have no problem upgrading.
Yeah, I would actually agree, Cole. I think the Xbox One X is a tremendous upgrade for those that own the base Xbox and the Xbox One S, even with the power advantage that it has. The visuals are, quite frankly, night and day. You know, all signs point to new Ryzen Core APUs on the horizon powering these true next-generation consoles, and really what that means is 60 frames per second on more AAA games, no matter what resolution that comes in at. It is going to be a better gameplay experience for many people out there, and not to mention upgraded physics, animations, and more. So, really, frankly, I don't feel slighted by the fact that I just bought the X. That was a personal decision. I wanted better performance on a console. They gave me that option.
I think the option, whether you want to or not, to upgrade your console is really good for gaming. If you want better visuals, you want to spend more money and have your games look better, it's there, having the console generation cycles shorter than instead of running for 6 to 8 years.
It adds a degree of flexibility and freedom to the consumer. So if you're tired, you feel stinted, you feel jaded, you feel like there's not necessarily the leap there you want, you can still maintain that contact with your friends and play all the same games. Everybody wins. Once again, guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Anything you have to say on the subject, what kind of tech you think they may implement, and of course, subscribe to Cole Eastwood here and myself. This video will appear on both channels, and as always, guys, hit that like button. We appreciate it.
Meanwhile, enjoy those great games you purchased this holiday. I'll see you online, and remember, be nice.